Hello, everyone. So today was pretty packed. When I got up, I greeted my mom, who stated that she was going to go off and do some shopping, get some items. She let me know that there was a apple turnover that was available for me, and it was already wrapped in aluminum foil, so I could put it in the air fryer to be toasted. She then left, and I decided to put the apple turnover in the air fryer and get myself a cup of coffee. I was thinking about how later today I was going to be driving over to my sister's house to take care of her cat a little more. So I was kind of mentally prepping myself up for that. Um, I knew it was going to be quite a long journey, and I wanted to make sure I wouldn't need any restroom breaks throughout the whole drive there because last time that happened, it was not great. So, yeah, um, I was eating the apple turnover in the back room where we have a bigger air fryer back there, and drinking the coffee, kind of enjoying the quiet alone time. And then I decided to turn on the TV to see if there was anything interesting to watch on YouTube. What I found was a brand new video released by Red Letter Media. Now, normally I'm one to eat something while watching a Red Letter Media video, but my turnover was gone and it was getting to be later in the afternoon, so I thought to myself, I wonder what I should have for lunch. I woke up quite late because yesterday was a work day and I got off at around 11. And I decided to sleep in because I was really exhausted and knocked out from yesterday. And man, yeah, I woke up at like 1. It was crazy. That's like the longest I've slept in a long time. But anyways, so yeah, I decided I would grab some McDonald's, a double quarter pounder with fries and a diet Dr. Pepper. So I drove off over there. I picked it up. It was a very efficient trip, very fast trip because I went to McDonald's. That was very close by. And I immediately drove back home. I put the food on a plate with the fries and the ketchup and the soda. So I went up into the den and I turned on the video and I started eating and watching. The video itself was very funny. It was basically Mike Stoklasa, Jay Bauman, and Rich Evans all talking about how horror meme movies are the latest craze in Hollywood, and because the Backrooms and the movie Obsession are both doing extremely well. And so basically they were saying like what are like movies that would do well, like, and then they started coming up with like meme movie premises. Like they were making fun of the fact that there are certain like short like internet horror shorts that like have a bunch of lore attached to them, and like they're really simple stories, but Hollywood's going to try to turn them into big movies. And apparently the people who created the VHS movies are noticing the internet meme horror movie Gold Rush, and they're trying to get in on the action by adapting the SCP, that security, containment, and protection um, video or doc series. It's basically a series where like these horrors beyond human comprehension are locked in these facilities, um, and the only way, uh, and apparently the history of this facility is shown on this website, but it's the story is told entirely through documentation, professional like scientific documentation of the events. So it's like there's a bit of a layer removed. It's not like completely narrative like a book where everything's described like really plainly. It's more so like, oh wow, you can infer what's going on, and your mind can kind of understand what's so scary about it, but in a weird scientific, legally detached way that, for some reason, makes it feel even more real and scary. And I think that that's a cool angle to go at that kind of subject. Now, to say if the people who are behind those VHS movies could do a good job on that, I don't really know. I feel like that kind of series is great for like, internet campfires, horror story like content. But in terms of like a big feature length film, I don't know. Maybe you'd have to do something similar to like a paranormal activity where it's like, security camera footage showing like these horrific events happening while people are trying to do their like professional jobs in a facility. I mean, I could see that working maybe. But you'd need a really good director to pull that off and not have it be cheesy, dumb jump scare nonsense. Um, yeah, like I want something tastefully, artfully done, like careful consideration. All right, well, I kind of got on that. Anywho, everything else they talked about was they pretty much made up their own ideas for like me movies, and they brought up the whole point that like, oh yeah, there was like photographs that were like taken of like spooky events, and those spooky events like don't really have much story or history behind them, but they're used as a means of like communicating these horror stories. So I thought that was pretty uh, interesting that they were talking about that. All right, well, anywho, after as I was watching, I was eating the food, and something I realized was that I really did not fully enjoy the meal. I think I'm over McDonald's. Like before, it was sort of the quick, simple, fast, easy comfort food that was cheap. Well, it's not super cheap. The meal only cost me $13, which I guess relatively compared to other fast food services is on the cheaper side, but still a bit much. And then on top of that, um, the food just now, like I've had other like burger restaurants and just restaurants in general, and McDonald's definitely just tastes quite artificial to me. Like it doesn't really taste super real, and because of that, it just you know I don't really like it. I used to like that was the thing that I would always go to and be like, oh yeah, it's time to treat myself. But now I think I'm starting in my older age begin to realize how phony it tastes and how it's like cheaply made, and I'm like, do I really want to spend my money on this? Is it, I guess. And then on top of that, I what might have discolored my positivity for the meal. On top of all of that, was that I had eaten that turnover, and normally I can eat like I can be a big eater if I want to be, but I guess eating that turnover, but like I think a good 20, 30, 40 minutes before eating the quarter pounder meal was probably a bad idea, because I feel like maybe like at the time when I wanted to get that meal, I was kind of hungry, but by the time I finally got around to serving myself it, I felt like the apple turnover kind of expanded in my stomach, making it difficult to enjoy fully eating that food. So it was basically just a cataclysm of multiple different like events that all kind of added to me like not fully really liking this. So that's a shame, real shame. Especially after spending $13, it's like you want to enjoy something you spend good hard-earned money on, right? Like, and so when you don't enjoy it, it just sucks. No other way around it. Um, okay, well, anywho, after watching that video and enjoying it, but only and forcefully trying to finish eating that food and not really fully enjoying it at all. I remember, excuse me, again. I remember my mom had arrived back from shopping. She needs some help bringing some things in the house, including some bed cover sheets and uh, uh, a shower curtain. So I helped her with that. I helped her set up the shower curtain. I helped her put together the bed sheet. She brought a brand new cheese grater. So I made sure to wash that nice and good so we'd have a clean one because, when it's from the store, it probably has a bunch of dust and grime on it. That's like not obvious. So yeah, and then we watched a little bit of this new Y-Files Campfire Stories episode that was recently released. And the episode had to do with this lady who was like on this, train ride. She stopped by this like station that she got out on, and it seemed like it wasn't like a normal station, like it looked long abandoned or like there wasn't any activity. And then she went like through this tunnel and she looked behind her and it looked like someone was following, but then when she tried to look closer at that person following, it's like they completely vanished into thin air. And then when she continued walking through the train tunnel and then finally got out the other end, there was like this guy in like a car, and he offered to ride her to get her to the closest town, and she was like, okay. And then like he drove her off, and then like apparently like he started like things were kind of normal at first, like they were chatting, but then as the ride continued, he started to mumble weird things to himself. And then the lady said, I don't know why he's mumbling weird things, but I think my phone's almost dying on battery. If we get to the next town, or if we have a moment where I have the opportunity to split, I'm going to split and see what I can do from there. And that was the last post she ever did. And like she did all this like on, I think, Reddit maybe. And yeah, people were like freaking out. They were like, oh my gosh, what happened to her? No. So yeah, very spooky tale. I haven't gotten to the part where like, you know, AJ Gentile debunks or says anything about like its validity, but based solely on like what was provided. I mean, I would think that maybe it was just a LARPing thing that was going on. Like maybe someone was like on a long bus or train ride and they were like really bored. So like they decided to do some live action role play by pretending they were like in a horror story to people on the internet, and people were like probably like, yeah, this is probably legit. And they thought, what better way to like spook people out than never sign back in on the account ever again and leaving everything off on a cliffhanger. That's what I think, because everything about the story just sounds too like, calculated in terms of it being like a horror story. But I mean, hey, I guess you never know. Maybe it really was someone who found this spooky train station and like disappeared at night. But who knows? We stopped then because I promised my sister that I would go see her cat for 2 days, or not for 2 days, but yeah, over the weekend. And so I offered my mom if she'd be interested in coming with me to see the cat. She said yes. So we drove over there. I drove us there. I was documenting our trip. Yeah, we took about like quite a while to get there, but when we got there, we greeted the cat at Squib, who was happy to see us. I remember recording like some videos of us like greeting the cat and petting the cat. Make sure to take pictures of like me scooping the litter box to ensure like there were no poops in there or pee blocks. And then yeah, I got a call from my sister who was asking how things were going. My middle sister, who was with my youngest sister, and they were at a con. And at the same time, like my eldest sister was contacting my mom on her phone. So we had this really unusual experience where, like, my eldest sister, my middle and youngest sister were all like, chatting through the phones while me and my mom were like in person chatting with them. It was a very unique experience that I have never experienced before, but it was pretty cool. Um, Eventually, when we were done with that, we decided to record one more outro video. I made sure to have Squib's water completely filled. My mom fed the cat some more tuna right when we got there, and I put the tuna in a serving bowl. And yeah, that was pretty much it. We said our goodbyes. I made sure to take a picture of the my sister's snake so she knew her snake was doing good. Snake's name was Charles, by the way. And then we got in our car, or my car. I asked my mom if I drove us there, it'd be all right if she drove us back, and she said sure. So we got in there and we drove off. We had extensive conversations about various things. Mainly, like, we had a conversation about like digital rights ownership and preservation of digital media, and how like Sony's making that very difficult right now with their terrible decision of getting rid of physical media for games. It's yeah, it was pretty long and interesting conversation. I got really into it. We eventually arrived home. There was this hard smell of cat pee in the air, so clearly one of the cats got in and started peeing everywhere. Luckily, I had bought some enzyme killing spray recently from Amazon, so I gave that to my mom, who sprayed it everywhere. And what do you know? The cat pee ended up going away. It was cat pee smell went away. It was pretty cool. Then then my mom made some burgers with cheese and tomatoes and onions, and I fried two hash browns in beef tallow, and that was pretty good. And yeah, even our family friend wanted some beef tallow hash browns. My mom split hers with her. So I had the tallow fried hash brown. It was really good. And I had the burger, and that was also very good. And then I told my mom and our family friend that I would be making us cookies. And then when I was done, maybe we could finish that Columbo episode that we started 2 nights ago. And they were like, sure, we'll do that. So they decided to watch a few shows on TV while I prepared the oatmeal cookies. I actually was given this recipe by my mom, who did some searching on the internet. Found a good recipe earlier in the day, right before we left for my middle sister's cat. So, yeah, I used that because I suggested the idea of oatmeal cookies when we got home from the trip. So, yeah, I made that. Took a while, but set up all the ingredients, put each one together. As I finished with the ingredient, I put the ingredient away, preheat the oven 350, but then halfway realized that it was 375 degrees. As I was doing all this, I was listening to 2 Ross Coulthart videos, one of him being interviewed, given questions about, like, government secrecy and big D disclosure, and then the other one was him going to inspect, like, statues and challenge, like, the guy who was like the tour guide for them. It's pretty interesting stuff. Eventually, the cookies were ready, so we all got our cookies. I made 2 for each of us. Then we all sat down around the TV and finished watching the new episode of Columbo that we hadn't seen yet. Well, new to us. The episode's been around since like the 70s. But that's the cool thing about this series. It's kind of like a time capsule where you can, like, watch what the world was like at that point in time and sort of get an idea of what it was like, and I think that's pretty cool. Eventually, we, you know, I even made some coffee to drink with it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It was basically like a politician who took his campaign manager out, but Columbo's hot on his tail. So he's like trying to play us off as like, look, as long as like I don't make a big deal about it, or if I don't act suspicious by openly allowing questions from Columbo, then surely I won't be caught. And I could just talk my way out of everything. But it turns out that despite being a career politician, he couldn't talk his way out of this because he did this stunt at the end that pretty much gave him away red-handed. Um, I'm not going to reveal what that was because I want you to go in and watch this episode for yourself because it was very good. I think it like was season 2, episode 2 maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. Episode 3? I don't know. It's one with the politician and the campaign manager that he disagreed with. But anywho, after we're done watching that, I decided everyone went to bed. I played a long session of the game Empire of the Ants. I was having a difficult time getting into it because it felt like the game was trying to be an RTS, real-time strategy game, at the same time trying to be graphics showcase. And the problem was that the RTS felt very limited and very basic and uninteresting. And it kind of was, putting me to sleep. I didn't really get into it that much. But I did have this conversation with Google about it, and I was like asking, "Hey, why is this not that great?" And it's like, "Yeah, the like impersonalness of the bugs, like being hyper realistic, and the really simplistic RTS, mechanics kind of drag the experience down. Visuals are nice, but it's not that deep with its RTS." And then I was like suggesting, well, it would have been cool if instead you got like challenges where you had to get like a crumb away from like a human, and like that gave you some good idea of scale if you like you were crawling like near a human, like walking or whatever, trying to get crumbs from a picnic or something, or a park or whatever. I think that would have been much more visually interesting. Instead, you get these big open naturalistic looking fields. Like there's no humans, maybe only suggestions that humans were there with like tires or like, bottles like every here or there. But overall it's I feel like putting humans in would have made it feel more, well, not only relatable, but giving you a good sense of scale. Also, the way the bugs animate is really twitchy and weird, and it just it doesn't really grab me, I guess. I mean, I'm gonna try to push through because like I got the game a while back and I put it away for those very reasons. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just try to continue giving it a chance. Maybe it'll get more developed, more complex, and more interesting as it goes along. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Anywho, after playing around with that, I remember I was getting really tired, so I turned off the television, and then I used the restroom, and then after that, I decided I would make my update video right now. So here it is. I'm gonna go ahead and take my vitamins and brush my teeth and go to bed. I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna do all that after I publish this bad boy. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.